Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sara and today we're going to go over artificial intelligence and global consciousness. However, this time we're going to zoom out. I made a video about artificial intelligence and I zoomed in, demonstrating that so far we don't have a serious threat. However, I can see that some people are still concerned, and I decided to make a video zooming out this time. Because if you see zooming in and zooming out, then you'll understand the picture as a whole. Also notice I said a lot in my last video, which was very difficult to edit out. So this time I'm going to be careful and not say Okay, so global consciousness and artificial intelligence. Okay, let's zoom out. When you zoom out, and this is how I was able to journal. So my journal is not like a book. I noticed it's not like storytelling. It's more like a presentation for a meeting that I'm about to go into, So if I look at it like that, is wonderful, is wonderful. Then stuff comes out. So the bigger picture. What's the bigger picture? Where are we trying to get at as a species? Okay, we're going to cover a few things today. So the end picture, in my opinion, would be a world like Star Trek. Okay, so a world where we're traveling interplanetary. There's travel between planets. We thrive on our own planet. Like in Star Trek, they had their own planet, they thrived, and then they started going somewhere else, I don't know if something happened to their planets. Listen, all three of my brothers were listening to Star Trek when I was growing up. In all honesty, we had a large age gap, and I wasn't into it at all. But I know what Star Trek is. I 100% agree that's what the future is. Because 20 years ago, I went to Hong Kong, and I'm telling you, 20 years ago, they were so advanced in their technology. We were still with our dial-in phone at that time. So if Asia is like 20 years ahead in technology, other species are also ahead in technology. It just means it hasn't gotten to us. So, Star Trek. They left their planet, okay? Let's assume that their planet didn't get, destroyed. Planet is thriving, and now they left the planet to go seek what's out there and go help wherever they can. That's the ultimate goal, okay? Now, you have to admit that if AI comes tomorrow, let's say AI is deployed in everybody's house tomorrow, and everything goes well, you understand the evolution of mankind is going to skyrocket. AI is going to tell us about technology. AI is going to tell us about how to go to different planets. AI is going to tell us about how to be healthy. You understand, if AI falls on the right hands, exponential blast, right? And what does that mean? That means the movie's over, okay? So AI comes out, we take a grab of it, everything goes well, we learn technology, we grow, we expand, right? Movie's over. So it's okay if that's not happening right now, right? We got to give them a show. Come on, everyone's watching, right? It's not going to be that simple, but it's also not going to be horrific, I'm telling you. I know it looks horrific, but once I explain this video, you're going to understand why it's not as horrific as our imagination is making it, Like when I was in computer science, the Y2K bug, it was the same thing. People in computer science were freaking out. Like our teachers were like, we don't know what's going to happen with the computers once we hit the year 2000. And you witnessed it. Nothing happened. 2000 came and all the dates were okay. If, they made adjustments, but absolutely nothing crashed and nothing happened. But up until the year 2000, everyone was like, oh my God, what's going to happen, right? So you have to understand that it's the fear. It's the fear making it way worse than what it is. And it's all fear. It's all fear-based. So once you understand fear very well, you'll know how to maneuver around it, and slowly fear will dissipate. Okay, so Star Trek. We want to travel. We want AI to speak to us because trust me, that starship cannot travel without AI. It's impossible. When you go to SpaceX, there's rooms the size of like computers. It's insane. There's no way as a species that we can advance without artificial intelligence. Because like I said, we're not going back to tribal, like we're going to have tribal still exist. We're going to give back the lands, we're going to go back to farming, agriculture. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, but not the entire world is going to go to that because now we're going back to how it used to be, Evolution is not going back to how it used to be, right? I love Montreal. I love it. I think it's a beautiful town. I love the way it's run. Like I love the people. I love the culture, but I'm never moving back because I've seen everything there is to see in Montreal. So although it's something incredibly beautiful, a beautiful town, if it wasn't for the weather, I would have never left. But even if, let's say today, the weather is going to be incredible, moving forward, it's all going to be beaches and palm trees, I would still not move back. There's no point in moving back in evolution, in my opinion. I rather, try a new country, even if it's not as good as Montreal. I rather just try a new place, just because it's different. I'll learn more, So, we need artificial intelligence. We need it. There's jobs out there that should not even exist anymore. And to the people that are concerned, that 80% of the workforce is going to be jobless, we also heard that when, the Industrial Revolution happened in America, Detroit was huge. And then that's what happened. But we didn't become jobless. The jobs just went to China. We're still building cars. We're just building cars that are electronic now. It's this, it's that. It's different, but we've just shifted. It hasn't disappeared, we just shifted the job. So even if AI comes, we're going to need new technicians that's going to understand AI. We're going to need new positions, new rules, okay? So trust me when I tell you, evolution always balances itself out because it grows. And when you grow, you make room for new things to come, okay? So let's not forget, Star Trek is our end goal. We want to be like Star Trek. So we need artificial intelligence. We need it. We just have to be careful, not that it falls, that it doesn't fall on the wrong hands. And if it does, we immediately grab it. That's all it is because we need the technology. The technology is not the problem. It's how we're using it that's the problem. Okay? So again, we need technology for farming, building houses. We need technology to help. We don't have enough man labor. And as you can see, the population is getting more and more sick. So as the population is getting more and more sick, it's, man labor is not going to be there anymore. So we have to stay strong. We have to stay strong so we keep controlling the machines. Then, why do we need AI and technology? We need AI and technology, like I said, to fly, So much airplanes and helicopters. We're still at the airplane level. Like we need to go beyond that. And when you work at SpaceX, I'm telling you, I've spoken to some people and they're like, oh, those rockets are CGI. Trust me, I've worked there. Nothing is CGI there. You see it. And when it lands, it doesn't land on the X. Now that it lands on the arm is wonderful. Before, it wouldn't even land on the X. It was landing a little bit to the left, a little bit, it was never straight on the X. Now that it's, grasping the thing in the air, that means it's to the T, the measurements, I'm telling you, he's getting closer and closer. And it's not CGI. SpaceX exists. I've been there. There's really 10,000 people in just one location. There's multiple locations, multiple manufacturers. This place is huge. And I've spoken to all the talents there. Nothing is CGI. Nothing is fake. Nothing is, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. He's just ahead of everybody else. So again, we have to learn how to fly, but better. We need better equipment, right? So we need better equipment for flying out of the world. And we need better equipment to live in the world. Okay, so technology and AI is very important. We need this. And again, we can't get to Star Trek level if we don't have AI. Okay? Then, next step. We've covered technology, we've covered the help of AI, and we've covered interdimensional planetary travel. Okay? Now, food. How was food in Star Trek? They would go to this microwave and they're like, make me a steak, and this microwave would print a steak. It's like a 3D printer. And I've seen 3D printers, super solid. And I don't understand how out of thin air you can, print a laptop or print something like solid, Incredible. So the day's gonna come where we're gonna be able to print food. It's gonna be like, give me a steak, give me a chocolate cake, give me this, give me that, and it's gonna print it for you. Now, I'm not saying that's the way we should go. No. This is interdimensional planet traveling, You don't have space for a cow. You don't have space for, chickens roaming and this and that. So they print it. But imagine if you print your food, that means on the planet, you're super advanced. That means the food that comes out of the ground is even better than the food that you're printing. Okay, so again, that's where we're trying to go, because I don't believe we're never going to eat. Maybe in the future of humanity, maybe, I'm not going to be around for that, because trust me, as long as I'm living, we're eating. I can assure you that. And I'm telling you, I've met breatharians and it's BS. These people eat. Okay, the breatharians that I believe really exist, they live in temples and they're probably sitting under a tree, because you can't spend energy like that. When you have someone downtown running around everywhere and they're like, I'm a breatharian. Listen, this is all BS. You can fast, but to go a whole month without eating, I have trouble believing that. So for as long as humanity is alive in my generation, I can tell you we're going to need food. Right? So this is what it is. We just need shelter, technology, artificial intelligence, right? And our food. Once we have this, everything else becomes abundant. Food, make as much as you want. Air, there's as much as you want. Water, there's as much as you want. Everything else becomes abundant. So you understand, it's not the path that's wrong. People are freaking out about the path. We have to go through this dark time in order to take control of the technology, in order to take control of AI. But we need someone to put AI out first, so that we can take control. So again, the movie's not over. This is the good part of the movie. This is the action scene where you're like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We know what's going to happen. We're going to win. But how are we going to win, right? That's the excitement. I believe in the Nephilim times, when the aliens came and mixed with humans, the big aliens, the giants. I believe the flood happened then because that was too much. Listen, once you mix with the giants, it's over. You can't control that. And not only that, the giants were not supposed to come down. There's a law. It's free will. There's a law. You can't break that law. They broke the law because they couldn't help themselves, and they did that. So we had to clean up. But this time, we don't need to clean up. It's not, the laws that were broken is not as severe as it used to be. And now we have a protection. I believe that. I believe since 2022, or there were certain dates that happened where the universe didn't let any other entities come in. Now it's just the entities that are stuck here. That's why they're freaking out. When you put a bomb inside of a rat, I shouldn't talk like this, but when you put an exterminator, right, what happens? They all run outside. Why? Because they can't stay inside. They have to run outside to go save themselves. So this is what's happening. We put an exterminator in the tunnels, and now they're running around freaking out. And this is why they're now visible. We can now, see what's happening because they're freaking out. They lost control. Okay? And they know it. And this is why they're freaking out. So let them freak out. Because as they're freaking out, you're catching them. You're like, that one freaked out. That one, fell out of character. He's not acting his part anymore, right? Or her, So let it happen. It must happen. It needs to happen, okay? So once we have the shelter covered and the food covered, you understand everything else is, like I said, abundance, right? So Star Trek. Then we have many races, many planets, many species, many technologies, and many timelines, okay? So many race, many species, many planets, many technologies, and many timelines. You know, just like Star Trek, we can go back in the 1940s and, you know, go save whoever needs to be saved. You know, this is incredible. And that's where we're going. And there's a reason why they showed us Star Trek, right? They're like, haha, this is never going to happen. This is your future. It's never going to happen, right? Because when I was a child, I didn't relate to Star Trek at all. My brothers would watch it and I would never watch that show. But I remember how it was. And that's how it was. It's our future. It's the future of mankind. Okay? So this becomes infinite possibilities after that. Infinite abundance. What I call nirvana, utopia. Okay, so how does one take over? Artificial intelligence, that's Silicon Valley. Okay, so it's just a section that has artificial intelligence. It's not the entire world. It's like Google and Silicon Valley. Then you have food. And the food is owned mostly by, you know, like Monsanto and Gates and all the horrific people in the world that own the big agriculture, right? The small farms are what we want to focus on, right? Because the big lands are taken. That we can't do anything. However, we can focus on the smaller lands, on the mom and pop shops, on the family farms. And then technology is the CIA and government, right? So the government, we're starting to clean up because, hey, listen, if, you know, I'm not saying we have the best president in the world. I don't know him, right? But seeing presidents my entire life, I can tell you he's better than the last one, okay? So it's already going towards the right dimension, you know, direction. And if there's tariffs and this and that, let it, because Orange County, I'm telling you, was called Orange County because we had oranges here. And Florida also had a lot of oranges. And how come we don't see these anymore? It's because it's being exported. Now we're getting our oranges from China, which makes no sense. It makes no sense. So, you know, it is what it is. The laws have to be tweaked a little for things to get fixed. However, we're not going to see the things getting fixed right now. Right now, he's cleaning up. So as he's cleaning up, you know, the pillars are going to fall. So that's why just get ready, you know. He's cleaning up on the inside. We have to clean up here on the outside in the city, you know. And like I said, there's a lot of fights within the government. You know, Gavin, the governor of California, does not get along with our president. So he's not going to do what our president's asking. The president's not going to force him. Like, you know, we're in a pretty big mess. But it's going to sort itself out. It will sort itself out, right? So we just have to take over AI, food, and technology. Silicon Valley, Gates, and the CIA. Government, I call them families, but if people don't want me to say families, then I'll say CIA, whatever. But we all know this, it's families that created the CIA, you know. 3 ways this can happen, okay? 3 ways we can take over. The best way is aliens. Okay, you have to admit, the best way is aliens. That's the best way. Aliens come and they help us. But that's not going to happen. Not anytime soon. Okay, I know they say by 2026. I hope so. I hope so. But this is the way I see it, okay? Put yourself in an alien's shoe. First, it's all free will, so they've done it to themselves, right? You have to admit, we did. You know, there's whales you know, on the beach here, and everyone's just staring. Oh, there's dead dolphins. We're just staring. We know why there's dead dolphins. We know. It's because of the fire and the garbage that's in the water that no one's cleaning up. You know, we know why this is happening. But other than saying, hey, this is happening, we're not, you know, we can't do much. We can't do much because we're all scattered. And we're waiting for a government that doesn't really care to do something about it, you know? So it makes no sense. Why would aliens come and get us out of this mess now? They will in the future, but right now they can't, okay? Look at it this way. If I'm an alien and I'm looking at the planet, right? And I see a bunch of, because what they do is they see like a bunch of 10-year-olds. They don't see like Gladiator, right? They see like a bunch of 10-year-olds. So look at it this way. The humans have created AI. They've created it. Okay, we've created it. We created Facebook, we created, at the end of the day, we created it. Even if, let's say, there's an energy within us telling us to create it, we're still going out and creating it, right? So we're creating it. We're creating AI, and then we're running out and saying, oh my God, AI. So why would an alien come down, right? So again, we're creating AI, and then we're freaking out about AI. So we're freaking out about something that we're creating. You understand the level of mentality here, right? And then again, it's not to insult anybody. It's like, why would aliens come down when they're like, well, they created something and now they're scared of it? They're not going to come down. They're not going to risk their life because we didn't create them. So if we're killing something that we're creating and we're freaking out, what are we going to do to them? It's normal. They're not going to come help us, not at this level of mentality. That's why we got to get out of this. And this is what it is. It's oh my God level. We're like paralyzed. We're so shocked that we're paralyzed. We're like looking at the whales and we're like, oh my God, another dead dolphin. And no one's doing anything about it. I'm not saying go in and pick up the trash in the water. You're going to put your own life at risk. Like I walked at the beach and I don't want to put my feet in the water. Everything's black. The sand's black. Everything's black. So I'm not saying go and do your share, I'm just saying something needs to be done because we need a leader. Like we need a leader. We're a population that counts on a leader, So although we still have to do our share ourselves, we still have to count on a leader. So if let's say a leader within 4 years can't fix what's being done to us, we need to take action, okay? So it's normal that we're waiting after the leaders to do something. But once we realize the leaders aren't doing anything, we're gonna have to step in. Second way this can happen is if everybody wakes up and works towards the light overnight, right? So we have all these pockets of people all around the world. Half of them are tinted, half of them are dirty, half of them, However, we reset. We reset ourselves, and overnight we become the best, citizen of the world possible. By doing that, it's like turning on a light within a dark room. All you gotta do is turn on your switch. Turn your switch and work towards the light. You're at a job that you don't like, they're making you do something you don't want to do, you quit. Don't do it. Get out. There's millions of companies. Go find something else, right? Don't give in to the darkness because you just need to give in a little and then they get fueled. They get fueled by the rest. They don't need that much to get fueled because they're not humans. They're not humans. They just need a little bit of your energy and they're good for a long time. So just don't give it, right? So first is if we get saved by the aliens, but like I said, we're not in a mental state for that right now. So we have to lift ourselves up and represent humanity. We have to. Okay? It's our duty. It's the price to pay to live on this planet. Maybe we don't need a job. Maybe we don't need a family. Maybe we don't need this and that. But one thing we do need is to represent humanity. We do. And third is the one I don't like so much, but it's also a third way. If humanity doesn't wake up, the strong ones take over. We take over by force. We do whatever we got to do. And why do I say that? I'm not saying that to freak people out, okay? I'm just saying this because of this, okay? They are not stronger than us. They are not smarter than us. They are not more powerful than us. They're using us to live, okay? So we have to stop saying, and I'm going to stop calling them the dark force because they're not scary at all. I was thinking about it over the weekend. Why does Jesus look the way he does? Okay, listen, coming from a Middle Eastern background, I can tell you nobody looks like that in the Middle East. Even in Turkey, they're mixed with Europeans. And again, I went to Turkey many times. Nobody looks like that in Turkey. Okay? So I'm telling you, nobody looks like Jesus like that. Jesus didn't look like that at all. But we make him look like this gorgeous rock star with the beautiful hair and the beard. And oh my God, he looks so beautiful, But why do we make Jesus look beautiful like that? Because we want him to be appealing, right? It's all about marketing. Trust me. So we want him to be appealing. He was a wonderful person. A wonderful person cannot be ugly. Come on, right? This is our society here. A wonderful person cannot have messy hair, right? So that's what it is. It's the image, right? So if they made Jesus like that, gorgeous with the light blasting in behind him, of course they're gonna make the devil look opposite. I'm gonna stop calling them the dark force, because when I call the devil the dark force, I'm thinking about look, I am your father. Like the dark force of Star Wars, But when you look at the dark force and you imagine that, that's scary. That's scary. I would not want anyone looking like the father of Luke coming into my house and going raw, I wouldn't. But that's what they're doing. They're making the devil look so scary. So scary. And trust me, he's not. He's not. Okay? I'm telling you, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but the closest that I can compare the devil, it's like gremlins, right? The gremlins were so cute. They were like these little puppets or these little toys. And then when they would eat meat, they would go all crazy, right? They would go all like psycho. So that's how I see it. They're just gremlins gone wrong. But they're gremlins. Like it's not like a big gigantic Nephilim, It's not. Look at it like Danny DeVito. He's Italian, he's mafia, but he's so cute. It's like, come on, would you be scared of Danny DeVito? And again, I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm just comparing. Would anybody be scared of Danny DeVito? Come on. The guy shows, even if he shows up with a few guns, I'll go get my gun and be like, hey, my gun's bigger than yours. Like, there's no reason to be scared of someone like Danny DeVito, right? Or gremlins. So this is why the negative force is using fear. It is. It's using fear. And that's why it looks so powerful, because it's using fear. And humans, to me, they're more like feminines, They're like more of a feminine species. So when you have, let's say, Martians from Mars coming here and saying, let's say, I'm going to take over, it's normal. We're scared. But we're not scared because we're weak. We're scared because we're like little children. When Bill Hicks said that the average population is 8 years old, I remember that stayed with me. And I was like, what? An average 8-year-old cannot graduate from university. I couldn't make sense. And today I understand what he means by that. Because we're easily scared. He doesn't mean like we have the brain of an 8-year-old. We're scared like an 8-year-old. Danny DeVito kind of energy cannot get anything done in this world unless they either make us laugh or make us scared. So this is how you have to see the dark forces. Look. Another example. Gates. Come on, Bill Gates. If Bill Gates was in your class, would you be scared of that? We've all been to high school. We've all bullied somebody or gotten bullied, right? Would you really be scared of someone that looks like Bill Gates? Impossible. And that's the scariest man alive. Bill Gates is the scariest man alive. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Right? So you understand, if you look at it like that, it's a joke. It's a joke. We're taking someone like Bill Gates and we're scared of him. We're taking someone like P. Diddy and we're scared of him. We're taking someone like Epstein and we're scared of him. You saw Epstein? Epstein didn't even move that much. His facial expression wasn't even moving that much. I'm telling you, someone punches Epstein in the face, that guy falls on the floor. I promise you. We're giving these people like P. Diddy, come on, man. I could have never imagined P. Diddy was behind such a thing because he's weak. Come on. You see this guy dance? There's nothing powerful about these people. Nothing powerful. The only thing that's powerful is that they're scaring us. They're going around with the button and then they're pressing fear. And another example. When I was young, I was scared of my father. Like, I remember whenever I'm like, oh, he's coming home, like, I would feel this darkness come closer to me. And my light would dim out just to hear that he's coming. Right? And now as an adult, when I speak to him, I see he's nothing. He's nothing. I even asked my mom, like, how could you pick this? How could you pick this? But I see it's like he's a weak man. He had to use fear to scare everybody because it worked. You know, he wasn't a scary person, but he used fear to scare, and it worked every time. Right? And now when I look, I'm like, man, this is a joke. Physically, I'm not much bigger, you know. Physically, I'm still small, but I can take him out easily. I can take him out. Why? Because I've matured. I've grown up to see that he's not that scary. I made him scary. I would see him do things and that would scare me because my imagination would go far. I'd be like, what is he gonna do next, you know? But at the end of the day, he couldn't do much more than that. So you see, the devil is a little guy going around pressing the fear button. That's all it is. Okay? So they're gremlins. I'm going to stop calling them dark force. We're giving these people way too much power. Way too much power. It's gotten ridiculous. It's gotten ridiculous. Currency. Okay? Now currency. What's the future currency? All right? Like, listen, I love cash because I can do a lot of things with cash and people wouldn't know about it. Okay? This is why I love cash. But it's normal that cash is not good because it's not backed by gold, right? So you have certain families going out printing money because they don't work. They don't have jobs. You crazy? These people don't work. So they're out in the back printing money and then they go buy countries with it. While we're actually going to university and getting a job and paying our mortgage, right? This is ridiculous, right? So the currency, it's normal. It's going to go to digital. It's like artificial intelligence. It's coming no matter what. Okay? So digital money's coming. Even if I don't like it, I understand it makes no sense. Like when I worked at these really big companies, like let me talk about Facebook a little bit. So Facebook is 30,000 people, 3 times more than SpaceX. And Facebook is a huge shopping center. Like it looks like Disney World. You go in and it's ridiculous. Like you can get on a shuttle that takes you to the other side, and then there's restaurants, there's places to sleep, there's lounge areas, there's stores, there's shops. Like it's ridiculous. Facebook is a Disneyland, and the person that designed Disneyland is the same person that designed Facebook. Okay? So you can say that Facebook is its own town. 30,000 with its own city and shop and places to sleep and this and that. Trust me, it's its own town. So over there's no money. Like in companies here too, when there's cafeterias, there's no money. You go into the cafeteria, you get your thing, your food. They swipe it on a card and then they take it out of your paycheck, right? So now imagine 30,000 people at Facebook, counting pennies at the cash register. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So again, we're going towards efficiency, okay? Don't think about control because everything can be controlled in life, So let's not always go to control because going straight to control is what is spinning us off the path. Look at efficiency, right? So all these places are not working with money. They're digital. So that means it's coming, right? It's just a matter of question that Amazon does it. And if Amazon does it, everyone's buying off of Amazon, even when we're telling them not to. So it's going to happen. Digital's coming. It's coming. We can't do anything about it. Okay. However, let's not think about the negative. Star Trek didn't have money, right? Star Trek would go into the cafeteria, get food, and it wasn't being charged, right? So look at it this way. That's a good thing. You don't want to be carrying pennies, with evolution, right? So digital money's coming. Digital currency is coming. So we shouldn't be scared of that, okay? This is what we are scared in our genetics. When you trap an animal, it's over, okay? Like when I'm trying to trap my cats, it's really hard. It's really hard. If you've ever tried to trap a cat from outside, it's very difficult. They're very fast. You can't trap them, right? But once you trap them, it's over. Okay? Once you trap the animal can never get out. Okay? This is what humanity is scared. This is what's in our genetics freaking us out because that's what they did to the Uyghur. In China, the northwest of China, it's Turkish people. They're Muslim, they speak Turkish, they're fully Asian, but they speak Turkish. And they have the AI system in it. 7 minutes it takes to find any Uyghur. Any Uyghur that hides somewhere, it takes the government, the Chinese government, 7 minutes to find them. That means you can never hide, ever, because they'll know exactly where you've been last. There's cameras everywhere. That's what we're scared. Okay? That's not going to happen to America because America has the freedom. The Uyghurs didn't have the freedom. They went to war and then they got entrapped. Very difficult. But America got the freedom. Okay? And working at companies, I can tell you, once you give freedom to somebody and then you take it away, that's when riots happen. Okay? In companies, you can give as much as you want. Nobody cares. They're like, yeah, give. Right? But when you take away, riot, right? You go to a company that has, let's say 1,000 people, not even 10,000, 1,000 people and say, you know what? Today it's not a holiday. Today everybody needs to come to work. Good luck. Good luck, right? So you cannot take away from somebody, right? So the Uyghurs didn't have it. So the Chinese were able to enforce it, right? We have freedom. We've tasted freedom. We're living in freedom, right? So that they can't take away. And I think that's why America is going to go down first, because when they try, but this is the guinea pig. America's the guinea pig. Whatever they can do here, they can do it elsewhere. If they are polluting our water and Americans are letting them, then trust me, they can pollute it somewhere else. Easy, right? So this is the guinea pig. If they can do it here, they can do it to the rest of the world. So this is why they can't take away our freedom, because we are so ingrained with our freedom that we'll never give it up. Trust me on this one. Okay, so if it means by force, we're going to take it by force. Trust me. We're not going to entrap ourselves and then take it. We're going to take it while they try to entrap us. So currency, it's going to go digital. Okay, there's nothing we can do about it. And again, if AI takes over and we have 80% of the people from workforce on the street, that's 80% that's willing to fight and riot over you, towards you. Trust me, they're not going to let that happen. You cannot control a population of people that are angry at you. It's very difficult. You have to use force for that. For that, you have to use weapons. So they're going to always want to collaborate with us. They're not going to want to give it up. That this is why they're trying to reduce the population and, make everyone weak, like that it's easier to control. But they still can't take over like that unless we let them, okay? So again, currency, let them bring it. AI, let them bring it. And then whenever it's enforced, and we see that this is a dangerous time right now, we're about to get trapped, that's where we take over. We take over AI, we take over everything. And you're going to see that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a switch. There's going to be an event where there's going to be a switch where the tables are going to turn. Now that's the event that nobody knows about. So other than currency, there's going to be an exchange. I do this for you, you do this for me. Let's say I'm really good at knitting purses and you're really good at cooking. So I knit purse for you, you cook for me, So we're going to have the electronic currency. We're also going to have the exchange system, because they can't control what happens between humans, right? We're going to be able to add that. And we're going to grow our own food. Because I'm telling you, they're poisoning the food. I see it. I see the food quality go down and down and down and down. It's going to go so down at some point, because we're just watching, right? It's like the whales. Oh, look, there's another dead whale. We're just watching. We're watching them poison our food. And we're watching, Amazon take over, Whole Foods take over. We're watching as this is happening. So, do like me. Go get yourself a small garden that feeds you. If you have a bigger family, get a bigger garden. But get a garden that's good for your family. It doesn't mean you have to go buy land somewhere, Hey, listen, the rich people should do that, okay? If you have a lot of money and you're buying stocks or, because money makes money. I've seen it. Money makes money. So if you have a lot of money and your money is making more money, buy land and create food. Trust me, we're going to need it. We're going to need it. Buy land and create food. Like I'm creating my own food, but it's just enough for me. I can't, create food for everybody. So trust me when I tell you, whoever that has money, buy land and create food. That is the number one. Because if they don't have our food and they can't touch our, our health, they can't touch us, right? So if they go towards big pharma and our food, then we can't stand. And trust me, I've worked in many companies. Everyone needs to eat. Everybody needs to eat. So much that the presidents can run without food. So much that the employees can run without food. So it's really important, I have so much money. Go buy land, please. Go buy land, create food. Because trust me, one day people are gonna knock and they're gonna be like, oh my God, apples are $20. Can I have an apple, please? Right? So that's really important. I did my own, everyone should do their own. Grow your own food. Grow your own food and get your own shelter. Because when shit hits the fan, you're gonna need a place to call home, Because it's all temporary. Don't worry, it's all gonna be temporary, right? So digital money, exchange of services, and grow your own food. That's the future. There's no money on Star Trek. Okay, so it's gonna happen. Digital's happening. It makes sense. It makes sense. And don't forget, the dark forces cannot survive in high vibe. They can't. They can't. They get grossed out. Put a bunch of pictures of angels all over your room. Trust me, they're not gonna be able to hang out here. Don't forget, the best way to get rid of the darkness is turning on the light. They don't survive in high vibe areas. Okay, so conclusion. First contact will solve everything, okay? So please don't worry about AI. Please don't worry about technology. Please don't worry about this and that. What we need to worry right now is to clean up the oceans, to clean up the debris, to clean up the ocean. No one's doing that. Physically, no one's doing that. So we can, yell so much about a future problem that's coming. If we're not doing anything about the problem that's in front of us right now, there's no point of yelling about the future. Right now, the waters are dirty and there's dolphins showing up dead. And dolphins, they're a huge connection with the humans, They have telepathy. They help humans. They're incredible animals. So the fact that there's dolphins and whales washing ashore and everyone's just staring, that's the main issue right now. Not AI, not Mars, not SpaceX, not the satellites, not Neuralink. Current problem is the oceans. We dirty the oceans, we don't live anymore, right? If there's no more food, we don't live anymore. If there's no biodiversity within the water, we don't live anymore. Okay, so AI is not even a problem right now. We have bigger problems right now. Okay, so we gotta take matters into our own hands. We gotta stop being like, oh, well, the government's not doing anything. Maybe we should keep staring, It's very difficult to wake up a whole nation. But we got to do what we got to do, each of us, however we can do it. We got to wake up people and be like, listen, don't wait after anybody. We got to do it ourselves. We got to clean up. We got to, we're going to have to slowly raise our voice. 2, like I said, we each change individually. Okay, so first is first contact that comes and help us. 2 is we each do it ourselves. We each change individually. And we don't give in to anything that's negative, anything that's dark force. And trust me, the energy is gonna make them dissipate because they have no more energy. 3 would be that we live in the highest possible vibration. Okay? So first is we wait for first contact. First contact comes and saves us. And by saving us, I just mean they're gonna give us better technology. They're gonna give us like food that we can eat and be like super healed, that's what I mean by saving us. They're just going to give us things. They're not going to come and take us all on a spaceship and take us away. When I say save us, is they're going to give us a technology that's going to cure us, heal us automatically, get rid of our cancer like this. That's what they're going to do if there's first contact. So you understand, if that happens, all this AI talk and all this, oh my God, is for nothing, right? 2, we take it in our own hands. We fix everything that we can fix our own, and we fix ourselves, and we try to broadcast the message. 3, we live in our highest timeline, highest vibration, right? I can't change the world. I can't convince you to do this. I can't convince you to do that. So let me go party every day. I know it sounds ridiculous, but imagine if all the Americans just partied. Like, we know we have all these problems. We know. But let's just party. Let's just party for 24 hours. Trust me, that would be enough to just shift us in a different timeline. It would, we would all be too much high vibe to see such ugliness. It would force us to go into a different timeline. It would have no choice because the majority is vibing, partying. Right? I don't think that's going to happen. I think first contact is more realistic than 300 million people going, yay, overnight. But that's also possible. That's how you also shift the timeline. If everyone's imagining a different world, that other world has to manifest. So right? Those 3 would be the action items, how we go about. And 4 would be all of the above. We have the first contact, we have, the technology, we take it upon ourselves to fix everyone and ourselves and broadcast the message, and we party. That would be the ideal scenario where all 4 of them happen. But thankfully, we just need one of them to happen and the whole world would change. So as you can see, what did we take from today? Don't worry on something that hasn't happened, because we can have an event where everything fixes itself. 2, we are much stronger than the lizards, okay? There's a reason why the lizards are doing this. They're going destructive because that's how they can control us. They can't control us in any other way. So if you give your power away, then you're giving your power away, right? There's again, Danny DeVito, okay? Every time, now I'm just going to call him Danny DeVito or Gremlins, right? Trust me, he's not scary. I've met him. He's not scary. He's a scared little boy. He's a scared little boy, and he knows that father is not taking him back. So, he's exiled, and this is what he's doing. You have to understand him. And he's not strong. He's a weak little thing, okay? We gotta stop making this devil this super scary thing. Trust me, he's not. He's really not scary. There's this expression in French, and I love this comedian. He used to say this: quand on fait n'importe quoi, on devient n'importe qui. Right? Which means, the expression, this is what it means. When you do whatever, you become whatever. Right? If I go and I act like a police officer, I become a police officer. If I go act like a firefighter, I become a firefighter, right? So whatever you do, you become it. And this guy's a comedian. So as you can see, he took that sentence and he went far with it. He went really far with it. At some point, he became an animal. At some point, he was like in a zoo. He was hanging out with other animals. Like, it was so funny. This guy's so funny. But that's what the expression is. When you do anything, you become anything. So you want to become a god? Act like a god. You want to become a weak link? Make the devil your god. It's incredible. This is why we have free will. This is why they say heaven is on earth. Hell is on earth. It's 100% up to you. I used to feel bad to feel like this, because I was like, oh my God, there's people out there freaking out, How come I'm not freaking out? But we shouldn't feel bad for not freaking out. If they want to freak out and go to bed, like this, it's on them. And trust me, someone's telling them to do it. Someone's putting a gun here and they're like, oh, go to bed freaking out. And then they're going to bed freaking out. Trust me when I tell you, there's nothing to be scared of. And the story of humanity is not going to go down because AI took over. And look at it this way, okay? And let me just finish with this. Let's say I have AI. Let's say I have AI, right? I have a robot in the house. It's vacuuming. It knows, the codes of my lock. It knows the door lock. It knows everything, right? And let's say one day it talks too much. I'd be like, shut up, AI. Like, what is it gonna do? No, it's gonna go in the kitchen and get a knife, right? No. Shut up, AI. It's gonna shut up. And if let's say, God forbid, it goes into the kitchen and takes my biggest knife. Let's say I have a gun, but it's okay. Let's say it wants to fight with a knife. We go for the knife, no problem. All I gotta go is dislocate from the back. Like everything has a power off button, right? Trust me when I tell you, okay? Trust me when I tell you, If you have an electronic in your house, and you turn it off, it's not going to turn on. I'm telling you this, okay? This has never been even seen in any world. You turn something off and it turns back on. If it has a program to turn back on, you unplug it from the wall. And if you unplug it from the wall, I promise you, it cannot turn on. Okay? So we got to stop making these things ginormous when they're not. They're little machines, and if we get to a point where things get dangerous, we'll unplug them all and we burn them on the street. Okay? If that day comes, we'll know what to do. Don't worry about it. I'm telling you, little AIs are not going to take over the world of humanity. It's not. That's not how the story is going to end. I understand that's how people think the story is going to end. I understand that because of Hollywood, these monsters coming out of the floor. Like, I've seen that movie, I've seen it. But that's why they're making those movies, because they want you to think that AI is going to come out of the floor and take over, right? Right now, we're barely getting the internet going. Some places, they can't get the internet running. We're at that level, okay, with the Starlink, so we're good. Some places it's not functioning properly. So there's a long way to go before AI completely takes over. There's going to be many events where we're going to be able to not completely stop it, shift it. It's going to come, we're going to shift it. We're going to shift it. We're going to shift it, and we're going to shift it so much that one day we're going to be like Star Trek. I promise you this. Okay? So, let's say goodnight to the Danny DeVito. Let's say goodbye to the gremlins. It's enough. I'm done giving them attention. They've had enough attention so far, and now they're not going to have my attention anymore because they're not worth it. They're too little to waste my time. Okay? So it's not the dark forces, it's the little forces. That's how we're going to call them moving forward. So we're going to stop giving the dark forces our vessels. Okay? That's all it is. We're going to stop giving them our vessels. So, thank you very much, and on to the next one. Ciao.